We're going to make today tofu scrambles. And we start off with our onions and peppers. We have bell pepper, onion, jalapeno, and I threw in a little manzano today. So what you do is you get your pan warm and you put just a little bit of olive oil in it. You don't need much. And if you want to know if the pan's hot or not, so just throw a little onion in there and see if it sizzles. And it's just starting to sizzle, so we'll give it a couple seconds here. You want to cook your onions and peppers hot and fast, not slow and low. So it's starting to get warm there. You can see it's starting to sizzle up. There you go. That's what you want to do. You want to be able to hear that noise. So you put your onions and peppers in here and let them sit there and brown up. I don't usually cook with salt. I usually leave that for the table. But in my onions and peppers, I put just a little bit of salt to help draw out some of that moisture. After a few minutes, you stir your mixture a little bit. See how it's starting to brown a little bit on the bottom? I made a lot today. You don't have to make this many, but it sure is good and tasty. The salt also gives the onions a little onion ring flavor without all that fat and gook. Flatten it out in the pan so they all cook. So while the onions and peppers are cooking, you want to get your tofu ready. And use extra firm. Doesn't matter what brand, just use extra firm. I've used multiple brands. You cut it open and drain out all the water. For Skip and I, we use about a half a tofu. So you cut it in half and you crumble it all up in here. Crumble it all up real good. And with the onions and peppers, it really doubles the amount. So it looks like there's not much until you start putting it all together, and you'll see how much it actually makes. Then you want to do your tofu scramble. And I make a bunch in advance and put it in a jar. And then that way I'm not remaking it every time. So I have a whole bunch in here. So you sprinkle it on. I put probably 3 tablespoons or more on the half a tofu, and mix it all up, and you want it all yellowish. You want to make sure it's everywhere, so I'll put a little bit more in there. You can still see quite a bit of white in there. There we go. And then store the leftover tofu in a container, a Tupperware container, completely covered in water. When your onions and peppers are cooked, you're going to see some brown down at the bottom. You want to get all that up. That's all flavor. So get some water, pour it in there. Not even a half a cup, or a quarter cup, just a little bit of water. Scrape it up a little bit here and get all those pieces up. And it also helps moisten the veggies, so when you put the tofu in, you don't have to add water.
I didn't believe that about the brown stuff on the bottom, and Terry let me taste that brown stuff one day, and it's amazing how much flavor is in it.
And it'll help your tofu not stick. So once you got all that done, now you want to throw your tofu in. There we go. Mix it all up real good. Turn the burner up a touch. About medium-low or so. And I'll throw some black pepper in at this point too. Mix it all up really good. And as you see, I thought there was a lot of onions and peppers, but it worked out pretty good. It'd be a good ratio of everything. Break up these pieces that aren't quite broken up when you're in the bowl. And let it sit here and cook just a little bit. And in the meantime, we have our crunchy potatoes ready, and we're heating up our pan. We're going to have crunchy potato and tofu scramble burritos this morning. After about 5 minutes, your scrambles are ready, and you're ready to assemble your burrito or just go sit down and eat them. Enjoy, you guys.
We heat our tortillas on a cast iron pan. In fact, they sell pans that are special for tortillas.
And here is your breakfast burrito. I like to use vegan cheese on mine once in a while, and this is the kind we use. The other kinds kind of taste a little odd, but this one tastes pretty good. We usually eat our scrambles just with some potatoes and toast, but today we're going to have a breakfast burrito and spice things up a little bit. So enjoy, you guys.
Now Terry says that hers is the perfect breakfast burrito, but you see that red stripe on my scrambles? That's the perfect burrito. It's got some hot peppers on there.
And the calorie level is pretty low because we don't use much oil. So even though you're eating potatoes, everybody thinks they're full of calories, they're really good for you. Put the scramble down. And it's really good in a burrito. The tofu scrambles reheat very well. So if you don't eat it all, don't worry, reheat it later.
But we never have any left over.
We never have anything left over. There we go. There is your tofu scramble and your crunchy potato breakfast.
Very nice.